Hi, I'm Allie. Join me as I show you how to create this LeafDuo Fall Necklace featuring the new LeafDuo beads, which have been brought back as a Potomac exclusive. If you need any materials, look below the video in the description to get links to get back to our website to gather them up. Gather up all your supplies on your bead on it board and let's get started. So to create this project, we are using the LeafDuo beads. We're going to be using 2 holes for the cabochon portion and 1 hole for the necklace portion. The necklace portion can be done if you want to, you don't have to, or you can just do the necklace portion. The LeafDuo beads are a check glass Potomac exclusive that have 2 holes going through the bottom of the leaf and a second one going through the top. To start out this project, we're using an 18mm cabochon. I'm using a check glass cabochon in the ancient gold color. The pretty thing with this is when you get ancient gold, a mixed pack of 5, you get all different colors really because of the coating. We're also using the Aztec gold 8 O-seed beads, some 15 O's and 11 O-seed beads as well. For the LeafDuos, I'm using 7 for my cabochon, making sure to string on some white dragon thread. I used green for this one here, size 8. 7 of my leaves all facing the same way, so the tail is going to the left here, with an 8 O-seed bead in between each. I'm going to tie this into a loop at the bottom of my 4.5 feet of thread, and I have a size 10 needle on my thread. A nice tight knot makes that finished, and I'm going to sew through the next LeafDuo, knowing that I started or stopped with an 8-0. And I'm going to come out the first 8-0. We're going to do a series of 2 loops that go around each of the 8-0. The first loop is going to be the interior or the front, and it's going to consist of 3 15 seed beads, 1 11, and 3 15 seed beads. I'm working on my gray bead on it board today, so you can see those light colors. We're going to go into the opposite side of the 8 seed bead and make a little loop. We're now going to make a second one. This one is going to consist of 5 15s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by 1, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then again through that same 8 seed bead, creating a second loop. After doing so, sew through your LeafDuo bead and come out through the next 8-0. The next 8-0 gets repeated. Again, 3 15s first, 1 11, 3 15s, back through that 8 from the opposite side. So it creates almost a little flower petal there. And you want to make sure as you're doing this that you're always doing the first group of 3, and then secondary, you're doing this second group of 5, making sure that all the groups of 3 stay to the front and all the groups of 5 stay to the back. I'm going to repeat this an additional 5 times around the other 8 seed beads. After creating your little petals here, I'm on my last one of 5, making sure again it's towards the back. And then I went through my first LeafDuo as well as that first 8-0. Flipping now to the front where all those groups of 3 1 3s are, I'm going to go up through the first 3 15s that I added and out the 11 seed bead without getting my thread all caught. And then when you're coming out the 11 seed bead, we're going to go around and catch on all of the 11 here. All the 11 then are going to bend in to hold the Rivoli or the cabochon in place with a 15 8 15 connecting them. 15 8 15 goes on, sew through to the next 11 seed bead. Bring that towards the front. That goes towards the back. 15 8 15 over to the next one in line. As you're doing so, that just pulls these all towards the front, and then the 15s will pull towards the back next before we go in and decorate the sides. So once again, just going around that whole, what is going to be our inner row here, grabbing onto and adding in the beads that sit between all of those little pieces. Continuing on, grabbing all of the groups of 3, the 11 that sits in the middle, to round it out so we can bring it back towards the center and get our cabochon to sit inside. Once you get back into that center spot there and we're doing the last 15, 8, 15, You'll notice I took my needle and thread that back through most of the project. This pulls all of those little prongs that we'll call them toward, and I'm pushing all the other ones towards the back now, all those little prongs toward the front. I'm going to push the rest of them towards the back here, those little groups of 5, pull nice and tight. And then what we're going to do is continue to circle around this section. I want to make sure to have 2 pieces of thread. Always, 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 when I have a Rivoli, a Cabochon, anything that I'm holding in place here, Chaton, anytime you have something there. This is going to sit right like so. And our leaf duos are going to go towards the back as the center comes to the front. What we're going to do now is flip over to the back and to those groups of 5 and 1, 5 petals. To do so, I'm going to go into the 3/15s right before my 8/0 seed bead, go through my 8/0 seed bead, go into that grouping of my 5 15/0s, my 1 11/0, pulling that toward the back there. And now I'm going to go around and connect to all the 11/0s that sit on the grouping of 5 1 5. To connect those, I'm flipping it over here, we are going to connect those with an 8 and an 11 on each side. So I just did one section there, 8 11 8. Next, sorry, 11 8 11, and into that next 11 there. And I'm going to do about 4 of these, 5 of them before I start to gather my Rivoli or my Cabochon and put that in place. I keep saying both because you really can use them interchangeably in this design. So there we have 11 8 11, grabbing that middle 11 from the next one and pulling that towards the back. And see how basically it is creating that section that's going to sit in between here. So going around in the circle, 11 8 11, grab my next one of my center 11s, and around I go. Whole way around the design, grabbing that in. And sewing through. I'm even going to let go of my Cabochon a little bit there. Kind of pull those back into place. As you do so, the leaves will start laying out. That is what we are going to achieve, is that they lay pretty parallel with the Cabochon. And I forgot them in the back, so we're going to push that the opposite way, putting the rounded side down. And same thing if you're doing a Rivoli. Rivoli to the front, flat side, or pointed side rather, to the back here. Last one goes in, 11 8 11, and into that first one. So back through all of these to tighten it up. And then as the final thing to tighten it up, what we are going to do is skip over the 11 that our thread kind of connected to, and we're just going to sew through the 11 8 11 that we just added. So you're skipping over the 11 that was already there from the original line. This is going to seem like it's a tiny bit loose because what's going to happen is as the leaf duos get pulled out, that pulls back towards the middle. Through all 7 sets of these, going around here, pulls that in tighter along the back. Sometimes you get lucky and you can sew right across to the next one. Very often, you have to bring it out after the group of 3 and kind of squeeze your needle in between there. Once you know you're the whole way around, kind of grabbing those in. One more there. I can see that it's not basically a V in between. That's how you can know. You're going to go down into the design, and we are going to go out through the baseline, going through the 15-0 here, or sorry, the 11-0 here. Then we're going to go down the 15s, basically almost stepping down in towards the LeafDuo beads. And we are going to sew through the 8-0 bead and out. So see how the LeafDuos are kind of like hanging out all over? That's okay. We're about to connect to our second hole of our LeafDuo bead. Connecting to the second hole of the LeafDuo bead is going to be as simple here as going up from the 8-0 bead, adding 2 15s, 1 11, and then into the second hole of the 8s. 2 15, 1 11, into the second hole of that LeafDuo bead. Opposite 1 11, 2 15s, into the 8-0 bead. And that pulls that straight. Next, all the way around, 2 15s and an 11 through the second hole there of the LeafDuo. Make it kind of sit and cooperate. Opposite when you're out of it, 1 11, 2 15s into the 8-0 sitting below. And there you have it. So I'm going to go the whole way around, adding in that 15, 11, 15 combo. Once you go in and add all of your little seed beads here that connect to the LeafDuos, they start to basically behave and they sit how you want them to sit. All I did at the end was take those 2 pieces of thread once you get done doing your LeafDuo connections there, and I tied them into a knot. That's it. We're going to be using the loop here that we made that you didn't even realize you were making as our connector for our necklace. I'm going in and burning my thread edges down. And I love how this kind of looks like a little butterfly on the side here. And you can see with the kind of stark colors of that hawthorn and the bronze there, we are going to string right through the back of the piece. So we're going to go underneath one loop and underneath the second loop to connect to add our little pendant here and our little chain. So all we have to do for this, you can use beading wire, which is what I'm going to use. You can use your extra thread. It's completely up to you. I'm taking some beading wire here, and I have a stop bead. I'm going to cut enough to do my necklace. You can also put that stop bead on wherever. And the first thing I'm going to do is to create the back. For this design in particular, I'm going to use some of the LeafDuos. Here I used 6 on each side. I'm only going to do 3 on each side of this one here. What I'm going to do to create my back is get out some more of my pink beads, bringing that pink color of that dusty rose towards the front. A couple more of my 8-0 Aztec beads. And I'm only going to go through the bigger hole of the LeafDuo beads. I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of my 11-0 beads. That's what's going to sit towards the back of the pendant here, going through 1 and 2 of those loops. Those seed beads are actually going to sit inside this loop section. So I'm just going to kind of feed those through and out through the back, and it's just going to hang out and sit right there. On the sides then, what I'm going to do to stabilize it is I'm going to put 1 of my 8-0s on either side of those beads, and then basically work my pattern going on the way back from there. So I'm just going to put an 8-0 on either side here. Grab wire cutter. My wire is way too long. So I'm going to grab an 8-0 on each side. And that's going to kind of stop the beads from going through the whole thing. When I flip it over then, that's going to sit right at the top of the design. From here, I'm going to work left and right, left and right. You can do your wire guard if you want to. If you ever have some wire that is bent a little bit, just give it a little snip. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do my pattern that I'm doing 8 seed beads. And once I have those 8 seed beads on, I'm going to put on one of my LeafDuos. And the LeafDuo, when I put it on to sit basically on the exterior here, oops, I forgot my 8-0 before it. I'm putting it on so that the LeafDuo is facing in toward the pendant section. So when I look at it, the LeafDuo basically is facing in towards the interior. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to take it and face the LeafDuo after the 8-0 towards the interior. So they're both facing pretty much the same direction there. And I forgot I need to go in and put my 8 seed beads on this side. That's why it's sitting too close. That's going to give us the same look here as this LeafDuo necklace, that when it sits on you, they all sit and they hang down nicely on the sides. Continuing on with the 8 seed beads in between my group of 8-0, LeafDuo 8-0. Once you have your pattern at the very end, oops, there we go, at the very end of the design, all you need to do is put on your clasp. I'm using some beading cable and beading wire. So I'm going to use a crimp tube, a pretty clasp garden clasp, going back through the crimp tube. And then I'm just going in with my needle nose plier here, grabbing it out of my tool caddy, flattening that out, pushing all the beads over that end if you can. If you can't, you just cut it off. Sometimes with the metallic coated beads, it won't go over. Totally fine. Grab your wire cutter, go right in. You can use a crimp cover if you want, which looks like a little round bead. You push all that extra wire down. Grab your next side. On my sample one, I went with one of the figure 8 hooks into the opposite side of the necklace. Make sure you don't see any extra wire there hanging out. And this is nice because the smaller clasps, actually you can take off if you want and wear the necklace by itself or hang a different pendant on it. Taking that wire through the extra beads here. Going in then with my crimp pliers or with my needle nose pliers, flattening it out, cutting off the extra, and that finishes up my LeafDuo Fall Necklace. Lots and lots of different color combinations with Rivolis and with Cabochons and with all of the different colors of LeafDuos as well, creating kind of a nice little harvesty look of designs of all of these falling leaves. Thanks so much for joining me in creating this LeafDuo falling necklace. It really, that cream color really stands out and pops. It's really fun to see it on and to see all of the different colors, whether or not you're making it in green, which is going to disappear a little bit on the screen, or in this beautiful white color. We have a bunch of different colors of the LeafDuos to choose from. Remember, if you do need any supplies, look below the video. In the description, we put links there that you can get back to our website to get things like the exclusive LeafDuo bead. As always, thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.